We're sitting in Bongsua Temple in the grounds, in the nature, surrounded by beautiful trees and birds and kids playing. But we almost never made it here because here in Korea, because when I was at the airport, I didn't bring my Zairyu card with me. And the Zairyu card shows that you're not a tourist, that you're a resident. And you can't actually leave Japan without showing your Zairyu card. And so I just took it out of my wallet thinking I wouldn't need it. And it turned out that I actually needed it. And luckily I had a photo of it in my phone, but that was still a bit touch and go. They had to actually call the immigration department. And then, mind you, this is like an hour before our flight. And I'm not sure I would have made it back home to get the card and then back to the airport. But they got permission from the immigration department for me to sign some paperwork. And so they kind of took us down and bypassed, not bypassed security, but took us to a special route that took us through security very quickly. And it was almost like a VIP access. And I signed some paperwork and we were ready to go. So here we are in Korea. There is a God. Yay! And if you're into fashion, we have these massive stores devoted to fashion. And not just on that side, on that side as well. Now we're now at Gwangyang markets, which is really cool. And the food here is pretty good. I mean, it's reasonably healthy, as you can see. And the markets are worth having a look at too. Okay, let's go in. South Korea is kind of hyper-consumerist compared to, or definitely compared to North Korea, which is not. This is the Starfield Library in Seoul, which is quite impressive. But because of that roof, I think, it lets a lot of heat in from outside, because Seoul at the time we were there was quite hot. So it's not a terribly comfortable place to sit and study, but people are doing it anyway. I guess they're used to it. Certainly not my idea of a cool, relaxed library, but very impressive nonetheless. Okay, thank you. So we're sitting in Bongsua Temple, which is really peaceful, and you can see here we're surrounded by nature, and it's a really strong contrast between, across the road you have the COEX Mall, which is kind of like a tribute to hyper-consumerism. So the contrast is quite dramatic, and it's noisy there, and even the Starfield Library, which is a bit of a tourist attraction, which is quite impressive, is kind of hot and busy and noisy as well. But then you come across the road to Bongsua Temple and you're back to nature and quiet and all the rest of it. It's just an interesting contrast between
Just went across the road, totally different world.
yeah, a totally different world. It's kind of like the difference between rampant capitalism and spirituality or something. I don't know, but interesting. It may sound strange, but the best part of our trip was our journey up to the Starbucks at the DMZ, the Demilitarised Zone, which is only about 1.5 kilometres from North Korea. You can see it just across the water. And it was fascinating. The guide gave us some really good historical information about it and a lot of stuff I didn't realise. So here we are, not far from North Korea, on our way to Starbucks. Hey Michelle, let's go to Starbucks.
This is pretty funny that they have Starbucks here, man.
I know, it's wild. And that's North Korea just across there. My taxpayer money. So we finally made it to the DMZ, the Demilitarised Zone. We're in Starbucks, which is across from North Korea, which is just outside the windows there, about 1.5 kilometres, I think. And later on we're going to go out and have a look, and I'll show you some video of it. But it's only a small Starbucks, as you can see. But it was on my bucket list, and I've dragged my lovely, tolerant, painful, I meant patient. Patient, slip of the tongue, patient wife with me, kicking and screaming. But I think she's had a good trip so far. Have you? Yeah. It was really interesting on the bus, the stories, wasn't it? And they showed some film, and yeah, it was really moving about what happened during the war. I'd like to look into it a bit more. But for now, we're going to have our Starbucks, and then we're going to go out and look at North Korea and wave to them across the water. So, what's the word for hello in? Annyeonghaseyo, which doesn't mean hello, it means are you at peace, which I think is a really great greeting. Are you at peace?
Are you at peace?
I'm at peace right now. I'm in Starbucks, so I'm happy. Are you at peace? Cool. Okay, let's show you some more. So there in the background is North Korea. And they've got all these telescopes here. You can look across and see soldiers and people working in the fields and all that kind of thing. But it's interesting to be this close to a place that's such a hot spot and has been that way for 70 or more years. Very interesting place. I recommend you come here and have a look one day. In 1968, 31 North Korean commandos crossed the DMZ. They were trained on this spit of land here and in other places, and their mission was to kill the South Korean president. All of them were killed bar two, and one of them defected to South Korea. Unfortunately, when he did that, his parents were executed by the North Koreans, and his family sent into prison camps. also an education centre that talks about the history of the area and the wildlife and the natural flora and fauna, because the demilitarised zone has allowed the wildlife to flourish because no one's allowed to go there. But we didn't have much chance to have a look at it because we were running out of time and had to be back on the bus. We're now in Bukchonghengok village, which has lots of traditional houses and very popular amongst tourists. But it's also been highly commercialised, so there's lots of upmarket shops here as well. It was a bit too commercialised for me, but at the top of it there was a place called the Observatory, which had a beautiful garden, and you could sit down and have a tea. The entry price allowed you to have a look around the grounds, which were pretty extensive. It must have been owned by someone wealthy back in the past, and it was really nicely done. And we took a break, had a look through some of the old buildings. They had a lot of old pottery and various artifacts from the past, which was a really nice experience actually, and it gave us a chance to just sit down and kind of take it all in. We just ordered red ginseng tea and what's the other one? Cinnamon punch, yeah, which are quite nice. And if you look out there, you can see we've got a bit of a view. And to be honest, this is the best part of this village. It's all like super modern and super commercialized, even though the buildings, or at least the roofs of the buildings, are old. It's like every house has been told that they have to have a certain type of wood, and it's all new wood. So it looks kind of upmarket, trendy, something, not really traditional.
Yeah, however, I really strongly would like to recommend this here.
Place at the top, which is it called the Observatory? Anyway, it's a tea room, and it's got like a little museum part down below, and it's really extensive. Yeah.
And there are several seats, maybe several section room, and you can pick up outside, inside, balcony. It's just fantastic. And entrance fee, including drink, it's only $6.
Ah, that's right. Yes, the entrance fee is $6, including a drink. It includes a drink.
I really like to recommend.
It's a great place to sit down after walking up all the hills. So, all good. We went to one of the palaces where they do a changing of the guard ceremony. There's a few places they do that. This ceremony went on for quite a while, and it was a bit long for me, but it was interesting that they actually went to the effort and dressed in traditional costumes. So it was fun to watch. This is Myogyaksa Temple, which also has a homestay. You can stay here and they feed you, and you can meditate and all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool place. I've spent some time with Korean monks in the past, and they certainly chant an awful lot, which is not really my cup of tea, so I haven't really gone down the Korean Buddhism path. But this homestay is a great idea, and if you want to learn something about Buddhism, it's a really good way to do it, and while living in Seoul for a short while. By the way, Korean food was pretty good, and they must have seen me coming at some stage, because they had these bibs you could put on to stop yourself from covering yourself in food. But it was time to leave Korea, and it's an hour and a half trip by bus to the airport, but it's only about a 2-hour trip home to Okinawa. I like South Korea, but it was good to get home after a 2-hour flight and have a look at some Okinawan attractions. Today we're at Southeast Botanical Garden, and it's yeah, it looks quite interesting. They've got animals here as well, like capybaras and different stuff, which we'll check out soon. It all lights up at night, and that's what these structures are part of. We decided to take the soft option.
Yes, we need it.
Yeah, we need it. It's a very mushy day, which means humid. So we're catching the tram around the park.
Later we should drop by here.
I thought they were fake.
I thought it's so fast.
And there were capybaras, which were bigger than I thought. Okay. And we're going to come back at night to have a look when everything's lit up. It should be really cool. I'm here with Sensei, about to do some sword cutting, and Sensei usually lends me a sword, which is very nice. Today I get to use Sensei's sword. Which is very old. I'm a bit worried about using it actually. This sword that Sensei lent me is an Edo period sword from a famous sword master, and it's from 1600s, so about 400 years old. Very nice sword. The sword is good, it's the person using it that's not quite as good.